Mlb Central ballpark cam up and running out west at Angels Stadium. Yankees in town, and this is where Shohei Ohtani hit his 35th homer of the season in the Angels' 95th game on Monday. It will be Domingo Germán and Patrick Sandoval getting the ball for the home team. Game 2 of 3 at Angels Stadium tonight, Robert.
Yeah, Lauren, with the second half of the season already in full swing, there is no shortage of storylines to keep track of. The trade deadline's just a couple of weeks away. Tightly contested divisional and wild card races are poised to go down to the wire, with several teams looking to end droughts. And there are some remarkable individual performances to keep track of this summer, including a pair of all-stars who are chasing history. Tom Verducci has the words, Bob Costas has the voice.
The very goal of the game is nostalgic. Leave home and find your way back. History is the game's unbroken chalk line. In no other sport is context more meaningful. What is new is always measured against what was. The pitch timer is new. It hasn't redefined the game, but simply restored it to 1984, the last time games averaged about 2 hours, 40 minutes. Stolen bases are back to their highest rate since 1997. Ronald Acuna Jr. leads the league in stolen bases and OPS.
Fire away, big boy. Acuna means business.
Only 2 players have done that since the game was integrated, Willie Mays and Rickey Henderson. Above all, nothing defines this season and how baseball takes us back more than the pursuits of Shohei Ohtani and Luis Arraez. The greatness they build is measured against the legends they chase. With every home run, Ohtani chases Babe Ruth. With every base hit, Arraez chases Ted Williams. The Babe, the Splendid Splinter, all-time greats, ghosts from a time when international players like Ohtani and Arraez were never or seldom seen. Ohtani already has surpassed Ruth as the game's greatest two-way player.
Indescribable how great Shohei Ohtani is.
In May, he passed the Babe in career strikeouts. In June, he slugged 15 home runs, 2 more than Ruth ever hit in a month in which he also started on the mound. Next up, the chase for 60 home runs. Ohtani had 31 in the first 86 games this year, 1 more than Ruth at the same point in 1927 when he hit 60. In his home country of Japan, Ohtani is not compared to Ruth, but to the great samurai warriors. He's called Nitoryu, which describes the special skill of a samurai fighting with 2 swords at once. To Ohtani, ever graceful, ever humble, to excel at hitting and pitching is more natural than it is special. Or as he once said, like the sun and the moon, they both emerge to play their part. A natural wonder also describes how Arraez swings the bat.
Incredible. The hit machine.
When he was 19, spraying hits all over the Venezuelan Winter League, fans there gave him a nickname, La Regadera, the Sprinkler.
Dude is just insane. He's pretty good at this baseball thing. He really is.
And now, MLB fans marvel at the even flow of hits he sprays across the grass.
La Regadera with another.
In the pursuit of Williams, Arraez reached the All-Star break hitting .383, an astonishing mark when you consider that the league average is .249. Watching Ohtani and Arraez, we appreciate the beauty and artistry in what they do. But of course, the beauty of baseball also is in what connects them to the past. The 2-sworded samurai and the sprinkler. They're chasing ghosts, and in the process, leaving their own footprints for others to follow.
How awesome is that? We have had a series and a half to digest the second half as we welcome you back inside. What is on our radar moving forward? Because when I read the Shohei Ohtani note, your eyes lit up. 35 home runs in the season. Aaron Judge had 36 at this time last year. That was what stood out for you.
It stood out because you don't want this whole trade deadline situation to derail how amazing this guy is. And when you talk about the story, we haven't seen this in forever, and then, everything is about, is he getting traded? I have him going away, man. And when you look at these numbers, Judge plays a tremendous outfield. Ohtani goes on the rubber every 5th day.
Process that.
And like that right there just should be enough for you to understand how special he is. And I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I've said it numerous times. You haven't won with him, and I don't know what's going to happen later on this season. But watching him every time he steps in the box, it's like stop what you're doing and appreciate. And as a former player who went down to the cage consistently and worked at his swing and dealt with the roller coaster ride of being successful at this level, I can't even imagine.
And then you talk to pitchers who grind. And try to figure out the ball at the fingertips, what it's going to do, how I get guys out, how I go out. And, when I saw him in the WBC down there in Miami, running back and forth from the bullpen to the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
That's that is 100% Little League stuff. You only see that in the Little League.
It'll be interesting to see because he's had some issues, injury issues with the
Blister
fingernail
issues,
and the blisters on the mound. So we'll have to see if that is something that continues to plague him moving forward. What's your second
I think for me, my storyline to watch is the AL West is real. Outside of the Oakland A's, who's dealing with their whole bag of issues that they got, the 4 teams, Seattle's got to get hot at some point. I think they're too good. They strike out a ton, but there's too many good players, and their pitching staff will give them a chance. So they're still not out of this. The Angels, obviously, we're going to pay attention to Ohtani. I don't see him getting moved at the deadline personally. I think Artie Moreno holds on to him. Mike Trout comes back. Who knows? I got to believe my boy Phil Nevin can keep them in it. The Astros, 6 ALCSs in a row. They are going nowhere, and Jordan's going to come back. Altuve's going to come back. Dana Brown's going to do something at the deadline to bolster them. And if you're watching the Texas Rangers on a nightly basis with Bruce Bochy, they're not leaving the scene at all. They're winning the games they shouldn't win. They give themselves a chance on the mound. They address the bullpen even more at the deadline. They rake. Yeah. So the AL West is completely up for grabs.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about the San Diego Padres. They are in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays tonight. What are they going to look like? Are they ever going to turn it around, especially at the plate? Because there are so many good players in this lineup. It's like what you're saying about the Mariners. Eventually, they've got to turn it around. But is it going to be too little too late? And if they fall further, does A.J. Preller decide,
no way,
maybe we have to retool and rethink some things, and I need a way to find a way to recoup some of the assets I lost in our system? I don't think that's what happens.
A whole lot, Robert, what you just said, right? That's a lot for a team that has a ton of talent.
That's the thing.
And right, so you lose 3 or 4 in Philly.
Blake Snell is a free agent. If things continue to go south, okay, maybe you don't trade Juan Soto, but Blake Snell, Josh Hader, those are 2 very valuable pieces if you decide to go down that route. I'm with you. I don't think they do. I think they're 8 games back.
I always felt like A.J.
They
Preller,
are 8 games back out of a wild card.
Just amassed talent and gave it to his manager, and regardless of whether you figure out the culture and the chemistry of this thing, because it's amazing. The one guy that I think threw a tizzy into this whole team was Xander Bogaerts. When I watch him on a nightly basis, it was like, I don't know what Xander had out there, other teams, but then when San Diego comes at 280, it's like, oh God, I guess I gotta go to San Diego. And it's moved Ha-Sung Kim, it's moved Cronenworth, it's moved Tatis to the outfield, which, by the way, he's phenomenal out there. It's just a spattering again. Figure it out.
The best teams you were on, were they the most talented, or was it the dynamic and the sum of the parts?
That's a great question.
Great question.
But I do believe the stars starred. And a lot of teams that I was good on, the stars were stars, supporting cast players were good, and they didn't have the pressure. What I'm watching consistent is they find ways to lose ball games that they should win, right? And that in itself.
Showing that the other day, right? You did a tape on that.
And it started in Philly, and when you actually sit down and watch them, because I had to see what was going on. Soto missed a routine ball. Now, they end up winning the game 8-4. But what happened is you scored a run, you got bases loaded. Josh Hader was down there chilling, with probably not even spikes on, has to come into the game. Now you come back the next day with a doubleheader when you probably could have used them for 2 innings. You end up using them for 1, and you end up losing the game.
We just need the Padres to get better so we can have the chance of getting there and covering them in the playoffs.
That's all we care about. It's all about us, Robert.
They don't
zone. Remember that? We wore that out last year.
Because it was fun. I'm focused on the AL East. It is bananas. How many teams will get into the postseason? Is one of them strong enough to go all the way? What do you think? The answer to that question right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
What does Baltimore do to solidify?
Verlander.
Starting pitch.
Let's go. Who are the Blue Jays? Can they make a
They're playing
deep
better.
run?
The Blue Jays are
Yes.
8 of 9.
Yes.
Does Judge
little
come back
bullpen
and
help
does
for
he
the Blue
change
Jays.
everything fall into place?
No.
Yankees.
Yankee starting rotation has got to keep them alive.
No.
Because their offense is just.
Severino pitched really well yesterday.
And
That's a great sign.
And are the Rays built for the marathon and the sprint?
Oh, for sure.
Yes, with McClanahan and Glasnow and Eflin.
And are the Red Sox?
They're not going anywhere either.
Red Sox hit. They wear you out. They can flat out rake.
And I've been saying it, Brian.